Hello and welcome back for another service video. Today we're going to have a look at one of my project watches. This watch has been lying in my project drawer for well over 2 years now, and what happened was I needed a part for a customer's watch and I ended up buying a donor watch, but the donor watch was too good to completely part out, but as time has gone on, more and more parts have been used in other customers' watches. So I've been collecting parts to try and get it together again, but then lo and behold, another watch needed parts. So what's ended up is that this has just been lying in my drawer now for, I can't actually remember how long. But the good news is I have now just bought a complete donor movement. So this is a Zodiac calibre 70-72, and by donor movement, somebody has squeezed into this crystal here. I'm going to get it out if I can. Easier said than done. Here we go. There was something wrong, so I had to go in and out the camera to get the focus back. But my donor movement here, that is a chronometer rated Zodiac. So we have the full jewel count. Originally I was planning on taking the parts from this and supplementing my old movement here, but you know what, I'm just going to use this movement because this is a chronometer rated movement, and we have the chronometer numbering here 4340. So yeah, why not make a chronometer rated Zodiac Seawolf while we're at it. Some purists might be annoyed, but if I had the case for this, I might have made a chronometer Zodiac again. I suspect it's been slaughtered for gold. So somebody has melted down the gold case and sacrificed that timepiece for a little bit of profit. But for me, it's good because that means I can finally get my Zodiac Seawolf back together, and that would be great. Same, very cool markers on this dial. If anyone needs a marker or a Zodiac chronometer dial, this one could be restored. If not, those markers could maybe find their way on something else. It's a shame to take it apart, but again, with no case and a Seawolf needing parts, I will justify using this. Anyway, this movement is in very good condition, so yeah, I'm going to strip it down and service it, put it back together again, and we will see if we can get a Seawolf out of it. It's pretty cool. Here you got the Seawolf case, just to have a quick look at it. We got a bit of pitting, we got the typical people scratching it to open it, and they're very tight fit when they're closed. I've already cleaned it up. It was very dirty and had old gasket everywhere, but it's fairly cleaned up now. I was considering polishing it, but I'm not really a big case polisher when it comes to watches, so I've left it. And this is one of the few cases, I know Omega did the same, that has a jewel in it. So you have a little ruby in here, which is spring loaded. That's put in here, and that helps the bezel click as it goes around. So get bezel is basically a push fit that goes on here. And what I did do a long time ago was have the bezel sent to be restored because it was had lost a lot of its plating. The Seawolf bezels are plated brass, and yeah, here's the restored one. I think it's turned out pretty good. It's going to look great when it comes back onto the case here. What I'm going to do is fill in the markers here, black around, and I believe it's red in the middle here. So yeah, it's going to look pretty good. Another thing I want to do is I'm going to apply a new Luminous compound to these hands. Firstly, because this one is missing quite a bit of lume. Secondly, is turned completely black and doesn't look that great on a black dial, and there's better color on the dial itself. So if we have a look at the dial, the dial's not perfect. We have a little bit of wear along the edges here, especially down here you can see, but there's not much I can do with that. The center of the dial looks great. Center print and everything's good. The print up along here is pretty good. It's a bit faded. You still have the seconds or minute markers going all the way around, so that's good. Some of them are a bit more faded than others, but we still have a gloss style, and once this comes together I think it's going to look fantastic. I'm going to dissolve this luminous compound on these hands and match it up to the dial, which is kind of a yellowish, greenish, brownish tone, and hopefully this will all come together and be quite a nice watch again. So a good way to dissolve compound is in acetone. Just drop your hands in, let it lie there for a few minutes, and possibly you could dip your jar in your ultrasonic cleaner and the vibrations will shake the luminous compound off. It's a good way of not getting any scratches on your hands. So what I'm going to salvage from the original movement here, if I can, is the case clamps and the case clamp screws. Let's see if it will come off. Oh, it's looking bleak. That's just snapping my screwdriver blade. Looks like this case screw here is probably, well, somewhat corroded in place. I'll try to dip some oil in there, see if I can loosen it up. Okay, well, I also have the original crown, and the stem looks pretty good, so we can salvage that. Yeah, I'm going to do this in fast film, taking it apart, and I'll put it back together in real time, just to keep these videos shortened down a little bit. So, one thing I have noticed is that the donor movement, which is designated the same, has one crucial difference, and that is two things. The way the balance setup is here, we have a spring coming over the regulator. Number two, you also have a hacking lever. That is not present on my donor movement here, so what I'm going to do is use parts from both to get my ultimate Seawolf, and so by that I'm going to use the balance from this, including the base plate. I'm going to use to reverse the wheels and other bits from this movement. So yeah, not quite as planned, but that's how things turn out sometimes. Right, what I think would brighten this bezel up is matching in the correct paint colors. So first of all, the triangle I believe is sort of dark red. fill that in like so. Gonna have a look under the microscope, make sure I've got that correct. So that's the red in. The next ones to fill in are the black ones around here. I'm going to do that under the microscope because yeah, it's a bit tricky. Okay, probably not 100% perfect, but that's good enough for me. And yeah, it really brings this bezel to life. I'm happy with that. It's going to look great while it comes. It's going to look great when it comes back onto the watch. Movement has been cleaned, and more than just cleaned, I decided to go for the Seawolf base plate because it has this machining here, which allows for the hacking lever to fit in the movement. If you look at the other movement here, you do not have this machining. This base plate had to be soaked in alum in order to dissolve a screw that had rusted in here by the case clamp screw, which are completely rusted. I've salvaged the case clamps, cleaned them up, but the screws was broken and I couldn't get it out. So I covered the entire movement in Brodica and submerged it in alum for a few days, and that dissolved it. So it has discolored the plating around the case screw, but at least I can fit a new screw now, and it's going to work as it should. Another thing I've done, I've taken the balance from the chronometer rated Zodiac movement I had, the donor movement, and I've fitted it into the Seawolf. I'm doing this because I'm also going to use most of the gear train from the chronometer grade movement, and I'm also going to use the jeweled auto-winder mechanism, adding the jewels to this, so it will be more robust for the future. Also, the condition of everything in this movement was very, very good, so it will transfer to this and make this a very nice and durable movement when it comes together, hopefully. And with the superfined balance, which says on the oscillating weight here, let's have a look. Adjustments, 7 adjustments. So yeah, so it's been adjusted pretty much in every position. So I expect this to perform like a chronometer when we put it back together, but we'll look at that when we get so far. So yeah, lightly customized Zodiac Seawolf with upgraded and finely adjusted components. So yeah, we'll see how that turns out. As you can see, I've fitted the cap jewels and the shock jewels, and the balance is moving freely as it should. The hairspring is also very nice and straight, so happy with that. So I'm going to start by removing the balance cock and balance in order to put the gear train back into the movement. So a detail on the Seawolf, which is passed on from the base movement based on an AS, is that the clutch is on the second wheel. There's a pinion rather than cannon pinion. The pinion comes here and goes underneath here and drives the hour and minute wheel. So we're going to put this here. What we're going to do, we're going to put a drop of oil there so that it here. There we go, a little bit for the friction. Put this on here, and I'm going just to press this together in the staking set in order to make sure that it sits correctly. I don't want to force pushing it down because I risk damaging the wheels. So yeah, set that up in the staking set now. It's simply a question of just pressing that down, like so, and that's the clutch fitted. So these Zodiacs have sealed barrels that are riveted together. This one did feel very good, as it felt like it was slipping, had the right tension on slipping, and it looked very clean from the outside. So I decided not to open it, because every time I open it, they're a real hassle, and you're supposed to re-rivet them, which is also a hassle. And if they work fine, just leave them. If they're broken, you have to go down that road. Luckily, this one was in very good condition, so I'm just not going to risk it. So the barrel's in there. Of course, if we get terrible amplitude and it's because of the mainspring's broken or something, we will have to open it. But I do believe it's working and it's in good condition, so I'm just going to leave it as is. Second thing you can find on this is that this little clutch, which we just fitted, sometimes these are loose and very difficult to tighten, and easy to make a pig's breakfast tightening them. So luckily this one feels very firm and nice. That was one of the parts that had gone out of this movement from before. Reason why we needed this donor movement. Now we're going to fit the gear train bridge, and I'm going to do this under the microscope because it's I want to make sure I don't break any pivots or anything as I press this together. Okay, that's the gear train bridge on, with all the pivots in the correct position. For that we can screw it in place. Yes, I'm taking the bridge from the other movement because it's got the chronometer serial markings. Considering we've got pretty much the entire gear train and the balance from the chronometer movement and the highly jeweled autobinder mechanism, mild customization, upgrade. When we're at this stage, we might as well fit the crown wheel. Got to be careful, very easy to, you want to unscrew these to go the wrong direction because they are left-hand thread. There we go. Look, what an idiot I am. I completely forgot about the hacking lever. So yeah, I need to take some things apart here. Actually, I don't need to take this off. I can leave this on. I need to take the gear train. I need to take the gear train off again in order to fit the hacking lever. All right, let's do this with the hacking lever, as I have gone through a lot of effort to have it with the hacking lever. It's a bit dumb not to do it, so yeah. a little bit of blue grease there, just to keep it a little lubricated. And we have our bit of screw on there. Alright, helps using the correct screw as well. There we go. Get this in here. There, now we have a hacking lever. So what happens is that the yoke, here's the yoke, has a little lever that goes through the movement from the underside and will operate that hacking lever. Anyway, let's get the gear train bridge back on and get going again. Okay, now that's our gear train bridge back in place. I'm going to oil this under the microscope, flip the movement around, and we can start putting the setting and winding mechanism back into place. So I'll start by putting the winding pinion and sliding pinion in place. I'm going to give that a little bit of blue grease on all the sliding spots. Here we go, one. Little dash on that. And on the little ratchet teeth here, that wind. There we go. And a bit of blue grease on the stem itself. There we go. That goes in there. Nice. Now we can fit the new setting lever. And the best way to get that in is simply by holding it in place like so and screwing it in from the top if I can. A bit tricky sometimes. There we go, then that's in place. Put that back into the movement holder. Like so, and let's put the yoke in. So as this is the yoke with the that connects with the hacking lever, we might as well put a drop of blue grease where it connects with the hacking lever and a drop of grease where you fit it onto the post here. There we go. And we can put some blue grease on the sliding surface where it engages with the setting lever here. And the yoke spring. Always handy to use two tweezers, one to hold it down, one to fit it, as they can ping away quite easily and never be seen again. There's the setting lever spring. This spring helps it stay in position when you are setting the time of the watch. There we go. Now we have a minute pinion here, but it's not a clutch, it's only a pinion. So it has the intermediate wheel has a little post on the underside pinion that goes onto the movement. We're going to grease that. Well, actually we're not going to grease it, we're going to oil it. Bit of red grease or red oil, and see that tension spring here, that helps keep it in place. It's going to go in there. There. Let's connect, there you go, that's engaging. And we have the intermediate wheel here, not to forget. So here I have this minute pinion. I'll put some oil on the post. I have run this through with the smoothing brush just to make sure there's no it's nice and smooth on the inside, as that was rusted onto the pillar before. I've cleaned off the rust. It's just a tiny bit of dirt and rust mixed together, not enough to create any pitting, but it was just a little bit of surface. That was enough for it not to move freely. Now it's very, very free, to say it like that. And that is held down by a little bridge, goes on top there. That goes on like so. I was trying to perform a magic trick of making the screw disappear, but I did find it again, so happy about that. So we can feel this nice friction in the setting pinion, which is good. Now I can turn the movement around, turn it around again, and we can fit the well, we've got to fit a little intermediate auto winder wheel here and the ratchet wheel. Now we can wind a movement. At this point, I'm going to fit the pallet fork and the balance. We're going to wind it up and see how it performs. Again, I've taken the pallet fork from the chronometer grade movement, and that's just going to I don't know, I like to think that it's been fine-tuned for extra performance, probably the same as the standard movement, but we might as well. to be honest, these calibre 7072s, they tend to have chronometer-like performance when in good condition anyway. So I don't know what the added benefit of this balance is, but we will see when we put it on the when we test the watch later on. Let's have a look under the microscope. Make sure this is lined up nicely. So I'm backtracking here a bit. I've done this before. This is the wrong screw, which I put in here. They are a bit longer than they should be, so what I should be using are these short ones. And the main reason for that is that here it goes down and it will hit the pallet fork cock on the underside, making it impossible to fit it. What you can see here is a tiny bit of magnetism on my screwdriver, which I'm going to put in the demagnetizer now and make sure that doesn't happen again. But yeah, these are the that's the shorter screw. That's the correct screw for this bridge. If you put the long ones in, which go to other bits here, you will find that the screw will come out on the other side here and block your bridge. You don't want that. There we go, now the bridge actually falls in place as it should, or the cock, the pallet cock, and we've secured that. We can now wind the movement. And I can now oil the pallet fork. Another thing some of you might have noticed is that I did put the ratchet wheel here in the wrong way. That of course is, or the crown wheel in the wrong way, and that of course is no good. So I have turned it around and put it in again. You'll notice that as you're winding the movement, it will the teeth will start slipping, so the winding pinion and the crown wheel teeth will start clicking down here because it's not as far down as it should be. So now it's fully wound. I can feel the tension from the mainspring slipping, and it's not. I don't have any issues here, so happy with that. And now for the moment of truth. Let's see if this thing will run. Yes, look at that. Excellent. So I would usually take it on the time graph now, but what I'm going to do is fit the other bridge that comes over here, because I don't want this wheel riding up when I'm testing it in different positions. Oops, that's the wrong screw. That is also the, so the reverser wheels come on here, I'll give this a drop of oil from the underside here. This reversal wheel. There we go. This one has a pinion on the underside that engages with the intermediate winding wheel. Let's see if those reversal wheels are working. Yeah, they are, and they're engaging. That's good. There we are. At this stage, I'm quite happy to test the movement of the time graph, see what it does. I'm going to put a couple of drops of oil in here and here. Well, at first look, we can obviously see we need to adjust this movement, but I'm going to start by doing the beat error, and then we're going to adjust the timing. All right, a bit of adjustment of the movement. Plus 51 seconds is not correct. Plus 7 seconds a day, yeah, that's what I've adjusted it to about. 261 amplitude is acceptable. That's actually very good. So just about where I'd like to have the movement, between 260 and 280. Let's do dial up position. So it went from +5, +6 to +1. That's acceptable. Now I'm going to put the movement up on its side. So right now the crown is facing south, downwards. It's got a little bit of gain. +6, I bet this can go a bit faster, let's see. Plus 15 seconds, south position. That's not too bad. Let's face that up, crown up, north. About -1. So a bit of variation there. Let's do crown left, west. Around 1-2 seconds gain, very good. I'll do crown right, east. Again, a little bit of gain, plus 2 seconds about. Once that settles. +3, yeah. So yeah, there's a tiny bit of variation. It's really quite good. I expect this to be a very accurate watch. Will it pass the COSC test? I don't know. It's very close. As it will have some gains and some losses in different position, but it's going to be a very accurate watch for the age, and I expect this to perform pretty well. Right. As you saw earlier, I have dissolved the luminous compound on these funky hands, and I figured it's probably good to put some new luminous compound on before I'm going to put the watch together, so I'll give it a chance to try. So what I'm going to do is place these hands upside down on this vertical, and I'll apply the luminous compound from the underside. And what does not look nice is fresh green compound on a dial with compound that is aged. So we're going to mix the compound up a bit and make sure it matches. got my little tray here. I got my different compounds. Having a look at the dial. Looking at the dial, we kind of have a yellowish, yeah, kind of a yellow color to that. It's more yellow than green, so we're going to go for the yellow compound. It's not very brown. It's quite a clean yellow. So I'm going to go with my yellow compound here. It looks greener than it actually is. Quite a bit because there's a lot to fill in on these hands. So I'd rather overdo it, not run out of compound. Here we go. Mix wise, I think we're just going to leave it at that. We're just going to go for the yellow and put a tiny bit of age in it. Here's our, that's our binding compound. So what we're going to do now is mix this together. It's a little bit thin, so I'm going to add a little bit more of the luminous compound powder. Just to get the right consistency. I don't want this to be brown, but I don't want it to be as bright as it is, so I'm going to mix in a little bit of brown colouring here. The whole idea is to not have it look too fresh. This will look good. Now I need to smear this onto the hats. Like so. So we'll put this to the side, let that dry, and then we'll put it onto the movement when it's ready. I did notice this one was a little thick, so I've just gone under the microscope and I removed the compound in acetone and did this one again. But I think I got them right now. Right, the next thing I want to do is fit the date mechanism. The date wheel is very snappy on these, rather complicated construction. It has this spring. This is to snap the this lever, which builds up on this, and suddenly ping, snaps it in place. See if we can show you how that works. What I'm going to do is put a little bit of grease on the underside here. This comes here. We have a screw with the shoulder. Should hold this date wheel in place. Well, before I put this on, I actually have to put the I actually have to fit the hour wheel. Let's do that. Drop of oil there. There's the hour wheel in place. There we go. You can see that's moving freely. It's tight, nice. Now for the actual date change lever. This is where it engages under here. Let's try and secure this on the movement holder, like so. There we go. Let's put a little bit of grease on the sides here. There's the other shouldered screw, comes in here, holds this lever in place. Make sure that is in position. As such. Good. And we have a little, well, what we can actually do now is fit the date wheel. So here comes the date wheel, which is in decent condition, all things considered. That's the little tensioner lever and your tension lever spring for the date wheel, and the actual date change mechanism . The actual date change mechanism covers that here. So this spring builds up quite a bit of tension. on this lever, which moves on this cam. And as it hits the date position, it will just snap in, and you'll have a rapid date change. So what we'll have, moving forward, you will see this date change will be fairly snappy. There we go. Very nice. And there's no direct quick set, you just have to move backwards and forwards again to there you go, ready, snap. Yeah, with that I think we're ready to put the dial and hands on. Now it's time to put the dial back onto the movement, and then we're going to fit the hands like so. And tighten the dial screws. So time to fit the hands, and it's very snappy. There we go. Put the hands on. Push that lightly on, go back, forward it. Oh, I'm going to move that hand a bit. Sometimes I can, you can see that fresh luminous compound glowing there. That's just the way it is. It's pretty close. Tiny bit further along. I think that's pretty good. All right, I'm going to press the hand on now. There. how the date changes. That's pretty good. See, that aligns perfectly up at 12. And yeah, no, it aligns at 6 as well. Very good. That's very close to 12 o'clock. Happy with that. Can make sure that's on. Yeah, that's good. We got the good distance between the hands. Now for the sweep second hand. This is the first time these hands are moving in who knows how long. This was a non-runner. Hence the hence all the parts. I think Pat saw this running last. I don't think Pat's with us anymore. If you are, if you're Pat who scratched a case back with your name, please leave a comment. There we go. Very good. Now there's a little bit of buzz on the dial. I'm going to clean up with some Rodico carefully. This dial's not perfect, but it is very representative. Still, it looks representable. Sometimes I slaughter words, but there you go. And yeah, let's get it in the case and see how the watch looks. Well, we painted this bezel earlier on, and that looks pretty good. You can see there's a little ruby here that clicks with these little half moons that are engraved in the back of the bezel, and the bezel is tension fit, so it clicks in place like that, and it turns like so. That looks pretty good. Wow, look at this. This is so satisfying. Really, this watch has been a part, just literally been a parts watch for such a long time, and now it's coming into the case here. I'm genuinely quite excited. Just tap a little bit of grease there for the gasket. So we have these two case clamps, the original ones. I've cleaned them up. They came up pretty well. I've got a couple of new screws. So now we have the movement secured in the case. We might as well fit the oscillating weight. I have put the movement on the time graph for just now, and the amplitude has gone up to about 280, and it's staying there, so it's settling in. That's very good. So it might not have its original 17 joules setup. We now have the higher joule count, 21 joules, but I would compare it to putting a couple of more horsepowers in your car. A little upgrade, one could say. So I'm happy with that. I think it's okay on this watch. I know everyone's all about original all the way, but it's so close. It's the original base plate. You got all the original bridges, with the exception of the chronometer higher jouled bridge here. Well, it's the same amount of joules, but you have the markings, and you have the extra joule here on your. Well, no, the bridges are from the chronometer grade movement. Balance cock is from the original base plate. Base plate is original. The rest is from the chronometer movement. So, yeah, hot rod. There's a few more horsepowers in this, or at least a few more rubies. See, you can see the reverser wheels here doing their job. Winding the movement. Nice. The reverser wheels move freely. That's good. Excellent. We're ready to case then. Well, we have cased it. I'm ready to put the case back on. All right, this is the famous Zodiac Seawolf Pat edition. I'm afraid I don't mind a bit of history on case back when people have got a nice engraving or engraved something decent, but this is just not very nice. So I'm going to see if I can get that out by so I'm going to lightly polish the back of the case here. I don't want to lose any of the print or actually reduce it at all, but this pat I want to get rid of. So we're going to go for a brushed finish over here to get rid of that pat. Scraping or whatever he's done. Well done, Pat. Well, I'm not going to win any case back polishing competitions. You can still see the scratches around here, and my finish here isn't 100% perfect, but it's a heck of a lot better than Pat written all over it. I'm not a specialist case polisher, and I don't claim to be, as I'm stating here, but yeah, it's quite a fun thing to polish cases, and it'd be nice to get somebody that's good at it. I'd love to. I do have a very good case polisher, but he's in America. By the time I send the case over there and his waiting time, it will take me half a year to finish this off. So yeah, we're just going to get rid of Pat in the back, and that will go well with the condition of the case overall. And fairly happy with it. So it's going to look good. Here we are, we got the movement all back together in the case, and we're ready to put the case back on. What are my thoughts of the Zodiac caliber 70-72? Very mixed. I have a lot of painful memories with these movements regarding to the clutch wheel being broken, having mainsprings needing replacement, and that mainspring barrel which is riveted in place. This movement has definitely redeemed it a bit. It was pretty straightforward, except for a couple of mishaps on my side. It's not a beginner's movement. It's fairly complicated in terms of different size screws that go different places that look very similar to other screws that go the other places. But overall, it's a very nice movement. And I think when it works well, it's good. So the reverser wheels they can lock up and be a problem. Yeah, no, definitely not an easy movement to work on, but you have one in good condition, they are fantastic like this. Really nice micro regulator, well balanced balance, they always seem to be fairly accurate and good. Nice compact design, beautiful finish. So it has a lot going for it, but it can also be a bit of a minefield in terms of in how it turns out. So it all comes down to condition, in my opinion. The last thing to do is put the case back on, and I have fitted the lowering gasket on the inside here. That will help with the water resistance. This is not going to be waterproof, but you just look at the condition of the case here. That's got plenty of pitting on the back. That would have to have been micro welded and polished out, but probably cost more than what the watch is worth anyway, so we're not going to go down that route. Yeah, so to close this, I will have to put it on the case press because it's quite a tight fit. So let's line our case back up as such. Rest the crystal on there, and we'll put our die in place. There. A good squeeze. That's pretty tight. No chance I could do that manually. And the case back's back on the watch. So there we have it, the Zodiac Seawolf. As you can see in the reflection, it's a very shiny dial. It's held up pretty well. We do have, as you can see, some fading of some of the markers, but they're all there, just faded. And the important bit, the print on the dial, is still super fresh and nice. There's no big scratches or defects, so it holds up pretty well. The bezel looks fantastic now. We got the original crown still, and we tidied up the case back. And the luminous compound in the hands make a huge difference compared to the black compound that it had when I got it. It really didn't look very good. It's a shame I don't have a before photo, because this really looked super ratty when I got the watch, but I can't find it. But now you can see what it looked like from a box of parts and to a fully functioning watch again. So if you enjoyed this video, please check out some of my other videos. I've done some more service videos of some interesting movements. And you can also visit the website mitka.co.uk, link in the description. And yeah, until next time, have a good one.